What's going on, family? Welcome again to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about insurances. All right, now I'm going to be coming out with a whole series, y'all. I'm literally going to be breaking down a whole series on just insurance in general, how exactly we can kind of understand the types of insurances that exist, and then how we can implement this in our daily lives when it comes to applying for insurance. So today we're going to be talking about health insurance. Is something that a lot of people are not aware of. So I'm going to be breaking this down. These are based on notes because currently I am taking the insurance exam. I'm literally practicing to become an insurance agent. So your boy is about to be, a bit official out here. So I am giving you the notes that I have learned in order to pass the exam, right? And I'm literally giving you everything that I know. So let's go ahead and get started. So in the health insurance factor, in this section here, in the next video we'll talk about life insurance. There are different types of insurances in general. You have medical exam plans, right, which is what you would usually do every year when you have health insurance come around. They say, hey, you want to go ahead and pick your insurance, blah 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 blah. This is where medical expense plans are also known as health insurance. This is just a fancy word, all right? But you have two types of health insurance providers, all right? You have the PPO and then you have the HPO. The PPO, or the preferred provider organization. This is where you choose whatever you're paying for the access, right? And then the health in maintenance organization, which is the HPO or the HMO, is where you're focused more in whatever network that they have, right? So you have a primary care provider, which is a PCP. This is where you could only go to that you can only get access to whatever network that they have. And if you want to go outside of the network, you have to actually call your insurance provider, say you want to switch primary care doctors, and then that's a whole process on its own, which of course takes you about 10 minutes max, right, after you call them. So an example of like some healthcare providers, right, you have of course you have AET&A, that's what it says. I'm butchering this, but I'm gonna call it Aetna. You have Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Kaiser Permanente, Blue of California. These are just some examples of some health insurances. The other type of insurance is you have group insurance. This is really good also in regards to the business space, right? So this is where you're pretty much waiting a period before getting a plan, and it's provided by your employer, okay? There's a waiting period of 30 to 90 days. So picture, for example, you work for a 9 to 5. That 9 to 5 provides you insurance. That employer has something called group insurance. That group insurance is what's giving you the health insurance through your job, okay? So that's really where the group insurance comes into play. Then you have individual insurance. Individual insurance is purchased directly through the agent, okay, from like one person. All right, this is usually like, an HMO as well, or HPO, right? Usually how this works is you would have let's say you have a family friend or whatever, and they're like, hey, you need to get health insurance. You're getting health insurance through that particular individual, okay? And they would supply you with your options of HMO or PPO, right? And whatever healthcare providers that you want. Now, the key thing here on the HMO side is that it's more focused on preventative medicine, right? So that's like your physicals, your doctor's visits or hospital visits, right? Now, when it comes to the PPO, which is the preferred provider care, that's not like, or unlike HMO, you do not have or need PCP, right? You really pay more when it comes to the PPO because you don't really have a network. You're just paying for the access. So you can go anywhere. You're just paying for whatever doctor that they have. Now, when it comes to the HMO side, there's a gatekeeper system, which means that it comes from your primary care first, all right? And then next, it honestly provides both healthcare services and coverage, all right? So these are the major differences between the HMO and the PPO, if you're curious, okay? Now, the other type of insurance, health insurance, is you have the consumer-driven health plan, okay? This is like your HSA, your health savings accounts. This is what a lot of financial advisors also say to have. This is literally just a health savings account. Usually it's a PPO plan, and they usually get health savings accounts for tax benefits. I mean, there's really nothing more to it. It's just literally a savings account for your health, for your healthcare. That's really all it is. So like if you have money that you have from, or extra money from a health insurance, you put that into a health savings account, and you can pretty much use that as a rainy day. like a rainy day fund, right? The other type is a contributory or non-contributory plan, okay? This usually applies only to group insurances or group policies. A contributory pretty much is you have to have at least 75% of your employees enrolled, right? So usually the company pays for it, the company and the employee pays for it. This is like a both parties pay for the plan. So you've probably been to a job before where you've had to put into a health insurance, and then of course your job matches your health insurance, right? Where you both pay for it. A non-contributory is when 100% of the employee pays for it. Okay, not pays for it, but 100% of the employees must enroll, but the company takes care of everything. Okay, the company pays for it. So that's usually what jobs do. Usually jobs will pay 100% of the health insurance, and actually most jobs is a contributory where they'll deduct it from your pay, so you pay for it and they pay for it. But there are jobs out there where all of the health insurance for our team, so we are actually a non-contributory. We're on a non-contributory plan, but this is usually how it works. But this is usually for group insurance policies. Okay, so this is usually if you have a business, you would have a group insurance to take care of your policies. This is if you want to give your team benefits, pretty much, right? So the next thing is what is a deductible? A lot of people have issues when it comes to a deductible, what it means, what it doesn't mean. I'm gonna break this down, okay? So on a major medical event, you must pay a deductible before it kicks in. Okay, that's the hack right there. Another hack is that you want to have an HSA, a high deductible with a low monthly premium plan. That is ideally what you want to have. That's ideally what you want to have. You want to have a high health savings account plus a higher deductible with a lower monthly payment. So that means that you have a health savings account. So if anything happens, if you have any overage, it goes into a savings account. You have a high deductible, and then you want to have a lower premium, which is what you're paying every single month. A high deductible, what a deductible is whatever you pay on I'm gonna give you an example. I believe the examples are just better than the definition. So for example, I have a healthcare provider, right? I have health insurance, but right, and the health insurance says that my deductible, let's say, is $5,000, which means that you have to pay $5,000, and then your health insurance will take care of 100% of everything else. Okay, so you have to pay $5,000, and then the health insurance will pay for 100% of everything else on that plan. So a deductible is just pretty much the payment that you have to pay out of pocket, right, for your health insurance. So a higher deductible equals a lower monthly plan, of course, because you have higher. A lower deductible means you have a higher monthly premium plan, okay, or higher monthly premium, right? So this is why I say the hack is you want to have a health savings account plus a higher deductible with a low premium. So you're paying a low monthly payment with a higher deductible, which means that you get more out of it, and then you get a health savings account, so any overage goes into a savings account. Okay, now let's break it down. Co-insurance, right? Co-insurance is pretty much medical coverage that covers 100% of an employee's pay for 20%, right? So remember the 80-20 rule, right? So the medical coverage covers 80% and the employee pays for 20%. That's a co-insurance, which means that you're both kind of doing that's what you would call a contributory plan, right? Where the employee and the actual person is paying for it at the same time. Right now, the key thing is that you have stop loss provisions, right? Which limits you on how much comes out of your pocket, which is called an out-of-pocket maximum, right? And the key thing, what a stop loss does, if in all my traders out there, if you know me for trading, then you already know what a stop loss is. But a stop loss pretty much stops the bleeding. It pretty much says, okay, when we get to a certain point, we're gonna stop at this certain point in the negative, right? So pretty much a co-insurance has a stop loss provision in place where if something were to ever come out of pocket, there's a stop loss where you can only take out maximum of this amount, which is why it's called a stop loss provision, which is why it's also called an out-of-pocket maximum, right? Co-payment. A co-payment is for both, of course, PPOs and HMOs. They both have it, but it's pretty much money you pay to your doctor, right? So anytime you go to a doctor, they say, hey, we need to have a co-payment first, which is just pretty much a deposit, how much to pay for every visit. Or not a deposit, a payment for every visit to the doctor. So depending on the health plan, it may range from $0 to, I don't know, however much dollars it may cost. I've seen people pay $5 copays, $100 copays. I've paid $100 copays before. This is pretty much what it is. Coordination of benefits, right? This is the explanation of the insurance benefits from inside the company, right? This is where you're calling the rep, right? So when you're calling the rep, usually you want to get a coordination of benefits, which is pretty much an explanation of what benefits you have in your insurance plan, right? Probationary period. Probationary period pretty much protects the insurer from people and for pretty much people who buy, right? Who buy the insurance, okay? The Affordable Care Act. This is a lot of things that you've probably heard of or not heard of. This is something you want to definitely get familiar with. This ensures that all Americans have access to health insurance. That's the Affordable Care Act. That's what it means, right? Then you have MRMP. This means Major Risk Medical Insurance Program, right? This means that this offers pretty much subsidized coverage to people who are considered high risk because of their medical conditions. It is usually funded by the state tobacco taxes. All right, this is super important. A lot of people probably go through this as well. You want to make sure that you know everything when it comes to insurance. This is the real reason why I'm doing this. I'm breaking this down so you are at least aware of what comes with insurance. All right, so Cobra Insurance. You probably never heard of this before. Let's talk about it. Cobra Insurance allows people or allows employees to buy health insurance even if you don't work there. Okay, this is what you call Cobra Insurance. All right, this is called extension of insurance, right? This consolidates the budget, the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act. So in the event of being laid off, company bankrupts, or the employee's hours are reduced, pretty much, let's say you're laid off or the company is bankrupt, you can still leverage and buy their health insurance with them, okay? So that's what you would call a Cobra Insurance. All right, certificate of insurance pretty much is a group of health insurance each employee receives at the end of the term, right? So each employee would receive a certificate anytime. It's only in the group health insurance, of course, but when you're done with the actual insurance, you get a certificate. I mean, it's that simple. Medicaid, right? This is providing aid for those in need with low income. It's that simple, right? Accidental death and dismemberment, which is AD&D, right? You probably heard of this before, especially in our community. This is something huge. So if you happen to die by accident, pretty much, or the cause of death is by accident, right? You get, this is on top of life insurance. You pretty much get paid from the health insurance. That's pretty much all it is, right? Disability income insurance. This protects you against any loss of income due to illness or injury, right? There's literally nothing crazy about that. Then you have total disability. Total disability means if you can't do any job in the job description or any job or any other job, which is also called a presumptive disability, which is due to loss of sight, hearing, speech, or loss of limbs. You want to make this, they'll give you total disability, which means that they'll give you money for being disabled, pretty much, right? But you can't pass $2,100 in income as a total, which is terrible because if you increase your income, now you can't get total disability, right? So they say the better option is to do partial disability so you can make money elsewhere as well. So instead of depending on total disability, where you get maxed income, if you get partial disability, you could still make more income on top of it, right? The waiting period for this is usually 30 days. You can choose, of course, the waiting time. You want to have longer time, less. You can either have longer time, less premium, or closer time, higher premium, right? So this is obviously the taxation of the disability income. And there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of great things when it comes to this. So next thing. Coordination of payments. This is somebody on the inside coordinating the payments for you, right? This is pretty much individual disability. Of course, individual disability will always pay out first, okay? Now we have SS disability, right? This is, of course, like we mentioned before, if you get disabled, it covers that, right? The waiting period is usually 5 months. Expect at least 12 months out of them, be honest. And then you have to be at least 65 years or older to qualify, right? So like I said, you have to hit a certain amount a certain amount of income in order to do that. And the last thing, Medicare. This is a blackout period for children, right? If you pass away due to SSD, which we just broke down, right, which is disability, and have kids under 16 years old, it will take care of your kids, okay? This is what you would call a survival benefit, right? After 16 years, though, it stops. And it's pretty much given to the spouse, and the spouse has it until 60 years old. So this is pretty much everything, y'all, when it comes to total disability. I'm not total disability, health insurance. It's very, very descriptive. I want to make sure that you all have all the information that you can in regards to getting everything in regards to health insurance. So if you want to get more information, what I want you to do is we have an absolute free training for you to actually be a part of. Look in the description. It's our family business workshop. This will literally teach you everything you know about how to build a family business, because when building a family business, you want to make sure that you have group insurance for your people, and you want to make sure that you have health insurance for your family, okay? So make sure you have all that information. If you want all that information, make sure to click the link in the description. Join our absolute free training. It's going to teach you everything you need to know. So I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.